Okay, now I asked you about finding a financial planner. Okay, so when you s- when you sort of narrow down your search, what are some of the questions to ask someone to get the feel for whether that person is a good fit for you?
I think some key questions to ask is how do you work with clients? What does that relationship look like? Also, how do they get paid? Understanding the transparency of that. Also, what can they expect in that relationship going forward? So after you, like you said earlier, after you've done the financial plan, what does that look like? What does the relationship look like? How often are we meeting? And going to their website and combing through their website to learn more about who they are. I like to put a lot of information on my website because I want people to have a feeling of who I am as a person, because you got to like the person that you're working with, because you're sharing a lot of personal information.
Okay, okay, and one of the questions you raised is how do you get paid? So let's talk about the different ways um, financial advisors get paid or how they charge their clients.
hmm
Okay.
Some ways that advisors, financial planners get paid, and those words can be used interchangeably because they tend to be in our industry. Um, some get paid on a retainer basis. Some charge you a flat rate. Some charge you or use an hourly rate and they provide you a proposal. Some use asset under management as their choice of getting paid, meaning that whatever assets that they're managing, they're charging you a percentage of that.
And generally, what percentage?
So it can be upwards of like 1.5 and below. So I tell people that in understanding how people get paid, also recognize that most financial planners are independent and are competing with your companies like Charles Schwab and Fidelity and things like that. But understanding that their fee structures may be different because there are other ways that those companies may charge their clients.
Okay, so explain fiduciary. What is a fiduciary?
A fiduciary is a person that, so the way that I would explain it is this way, is from an investment advisor broker, is an investment or a broker generally gets paid based off of commission, and that commission is based off of what they sell. A financial planner is not getting paid based off of anything that they sell, and I put that in quotation because it depends on who they work for. And so so you see a difference in how the pay structure. Also, the financial planner is obligated to work in the best interest of their clients, meaning that they have to put their clients' interest above theirs. So therefore, if a situation occurs and they are, making the decision about what to recommend to a client, they always have to consider the client's needs first above their own and how they're going to get paid.
Okay. So how often do you meet with clients?
It can vary. They get to choose with my firm
Okay.
how often they want to meet. For the most part, like in the beginning, it's quite often because we're establishing our rapport and we're establishing foundationally some things that we need to put in place. And then after that, it could be quarterly, it could be semi-annually, or it could be annually.
As so, Sheila, so if you have like the top 2 or 3 mistakes that when people come in that you need to correct, what would those be?
I hate that word mistake. Can I say that?
Yes. Okay. Or you could say do-over.
Okay, yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so number one, I would say clients tend to not save enough. Number two, it could be how they're allocated. It has strategy around that. Number three is not having the insurances in place in case something happens to them. And so I'm more concerned about clients when they are alive than when they die. So what I mean by that is long-term care insurance, and do you have disability insurance? Some people don't realize that if you work for the federal government, they don't offer disability insurance. So, making sure that you have that in place, because if something happens, especially if you're a millennial and you're having children, you want to make sure that you have resources while you're taking care of your children. So I'm concerned about those things, making sure that they have that in place, because making sure income is coming in, because that's key in order for you to protect what you've built.
Okay, so does life insurance play a part or role in your financial plan?
It does.
Okay,
Yes,
so,
it does.
Okay, so what might be, I'm trying to not use the word mistake. When it comes to life insurance, is that most people don't have enough? I mean, what
Yes, I would say that.
Okay.
When it comes to life insurance, it's all about what are you going to use it for. Is the insurance for your children, the legacy that you want to leave? Is the insurance for to cover your burial? Because you don't necessarily need a lot of insurance to cover that. But it's more so what's the legacy that you want to leave. So that's when I talk about insurance, and they're explaining to me that it's important to leave a legacy to their children. Also, it's important for them to make sure that their kids do not have to be responsible for taxes. So, recently the laws have changed around how money is going to be distributed with an IRA. And so now should be a big conversation about how parents are going to leave money to their children, because of the fact that if you inherit an IRA, you have 10 years to spend down that money.
Okay, and so since we talked about insurance, about estate planning, okay, now talking about leaving a legacy for your children,
Mm-hmm.
okay, now how important is estate planning?
Well, I share my story, my personal story around estate planning. So before my daughter was born, my husband and I decided that we wanted to put together our estate plan. And again, when she was born, the estate laws were different. They have changed since then. But we was really key that we wanted to make sure that if anything happens to us, that she would be taken care of. But also, we wanted to make sure that she had a guardianship. So a will is where you identify who's going to take care of your young children, if you have any. We also made sure that the person who was the guardian was separate from the person who handled the money, separation of duties, and where they have to talk and make sure that what they're going to be spending money on is going to be what's necessary for her. And we wanted to make sure that if something were to happen to us and we became incapacitated. So the biggest thing with estate planning to me is the incapacity planning, is what happens if you are still alive, but you can't make decisions for yourself. And so those things were key as well. So whenever I'm talking about estate planning, I start with talking about my story.